Welcome to Canine Revolution Radio. Presented by Canine Revolution Dog Training, enhancing the dog and owner relationship through education, balance, and pack instinct.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Canine Revolution Radio. I'm your host today, Chad. We got Chris.
Hey.
And Kevin on scene, on site, ready to roll. We got Ben. Good to go.
He just
operating the cameras, operating the microphones, making sure we're on track, on target, on time, on target, right? On time. All right.
We're not on time right now. No.
We were supposed to start this an hour ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite books that we've read in 2020. We're supposed to be reviewing 3 of our favorite books, but I've got 4 here. And these are my favorite books from 2020, even though these books were not all written in 2020. And I've read some of these books before 2020, but then I read them again in 2020. They're so good. But we wanted to share these with our listeners. And these books, I've got 2 books that apply strictly to dogs, and I've got 2 books that apply to people, human psychology type stuff, developing yourself as a person, developing your relationships, how you interact and deal with people. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to jump into the first one. What?
They still saw the binding when you flipped it.
Yeah.
And the title's on the back of it.
Without further ado, we're going to jump into the first book here. Highly recommended for anybody into the dog stuff, anybody into dog body language, understanding more about your dog, how dogs operate, dog's ancestors, the wolf. And the book title is Dog Language, an Encyclopedia of Canine Behavior. And the author is Roger Abrantes. Okay? Good dude, right? So this book, again, it's like an encyclopedia. So it goes from A to Z. It's a little bit different format than you'd normally see in a book. So it goes from A to Z, and it just gives a nice explanation of what that term is. And if you guys know me, I'm super into terminology.
He really is.
Love terminology. I've written my own SOP on terminology. So anyway, really dig this book for people like me, for people like us. So I'm just going to get in here and get into some of the contents of the book. But while I'm flipping through a couple pages and find something good, and while I'm reading these books, I always highlight it just so I can go back, review some of my notes on the book, right? Okay. So let me find something good. You guys got anything to add about this book?
Yeah, so with that one, I mean, just keep in mind that even, inside of the career field, it is still a lot to digest. It is a very sciencey book. So when you're reading that, take it slow, take your time. There's a lot of research that goes into that. I will note that when he wrote that book, they said it was 14,000 years that dogs have been companions with humans in order to help hunt. Since then, actually, I don't know if I told you, I read a story that popped up like 2 months ago. They found a skeleton buried with a dog from 24,000 years ago.
Oh, really?
So now we have 10,000 more years of, what occurred, what did we learn, a lot of stuff that's lost in history. But all in all, definitely a good book.
Yeah. Agree 100%.
Agree 100%.
You got Ben on that one.
Good one. Good one, Chris.
Good.
Let me get in here real quick. Oh, so one other thing, just to branch off of what Kevin said, we're reading. So the way we do things here is our trainers are assigned a reading assignment once a week. We meet once a week. We read our highlights together, and review our notes. And just based on our different levels of experience, based on our different viewpoints, based on our different interpretations, it allows us to have a better discussion about the material, a better understanding of the material, as we're going through it, because we get to experience our different perspectives on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then for new trainers that come in, and maybe they're just a trainer apprentice, maybe they make it to certification, maybe they don't, but if they join us at the discussion table with their reading assignment, excuse me, they're going to have experienced trainers being able to explain to them, okay, this makes sense, and here's why.
Right.
Here's what I've seen in my experience in training dogs for 4 years or 5 years or however long that individual person's been training. You know what I'm saying?
That really made more sense to me with a hands-on approach.
Yeah.
Like once I started doing it, okay. You read it, you're like, I mean, there was times where I was reading that I had to go back and reread the same paragraph to make sure I was processing everything he said. But I mean, a lot of information out there, and he does his best to, present it to where it's digestible. But still, just take your time with it.
It's very sciencey, like you said. You know?
Well, this is also why I like you said, rereading books. You know what I mean? So I feel like every year we continually develop and we learn new things. We're always honing that craft.
Yep.
So you go back and reread these books, and something new always pops out to me. That is that, or it reminds me of a case that I had this year or whatever. So it's always good to continue to absorb this information.
And everything's always taken with a grain of salt. You can't just read that one book and be like, all right, I know it now. Know exactly what I'm doing. There's a lot of different viewpoints on some things that may not be as clear in the dog world. So it's just good information to process and to have.
And this book was published in 1997.
Yeah.
So since then, and this is a compilation of information from, like you said, years and years prior. And since then, there's been more information uncovered. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, take it with a grain of salt. Understand it based on your experience, what's going on. Don't take this as everything.
Right.
It's just information. Some's good, some's probably not good. But it's good to be exposed to it. Have a discussion about it. Talk to people about it that are experienced in the field that we're talking about. But if you're just a pet owner, you've got a dog, and you're interested in learning more things or understanding more things, books like this are going to help you open up that window to further understanding, right?
Peel back the layers, if you will.
Peel back the onion layers. Well, I'm glad you brought that
Really,
up.
Kevin? Thought we were going to make a whole episode without
All right, so let's jump right into the book. On page 46, you guys are going to love my first highlight that I'm going to talk about. And it's anthropomorphism.
Oh, yeah.
I knew it. I didn't even have to ask.
That's the number one thing, man.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read this section just so you get a taste of how he writes this book. Anthropomorphism means to attribute human characteristics and intentions to animals. In scientific approaches, we must beware of anthropomorphism, which can lead to misunderstandings of animal behavior and the formulation of incorrect hypotheses. Dog owners are often likely to give their dogs human characteristics and motives such as jealousy, guilt, premeditation, and so on, and these lack any kind of factual basis. And so that's the end of that section. But again, anthropomorphism, applying human characteristics and intentions to animals, which most people do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, it's not a terrible thing. It's like, okay. But in a lot of cases, you got this strong, powerful, dominant dog. You got the owner who's treating it like it's a child. This dog hurts the owner, hurts somebody because it's not being treated like a dog. It's not being treated like a pack animal. It's being treated like a human child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not supposed to be like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a quick on anthropomorphism. And again, he talks about jealousy. Dogs don't get jealous, but they do get dominant.
Right.
So a lot of times when people think they see jealousy in a dog, it's actually dominance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, anything to touch on that one, guys?
I mean, the emotions is like one of the big gray area when it comes to dogs. How intricate are their emotions? Obviously, they don't have a wider range that we do.
Yeah.
Because things like jealousy, you can say, oh, that's dominance, or depression, that's insecurity. It's not depression as we understand it. It's insecurity in that dog at that moment.
Yeah.
So, with anything, anthropomorphism just reminds us to take a step back and understand dogs in a way that applies to the dog, not in a way that applies to us.
Yeah.
But definitely the number one thing, especially nowadays, dogs are the babies, But anthropomorphism, it breeds mismanagement. It can definitely breed some issues.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that anthropomorphism. That's the reason why I recommend you read all these books, because everything we do should be about better understanding our dogs and how they think, how they perceive the world, instead of us making assumptions or putting our own emotions onto it. Like, oh, well, if I was in that situation, this is how I would feel. So when I see the tail like that, that's probably what they're thinking, right? And now something happens where a kid gets bit or another dog gets bit or you get bit by your own dog, and there's just a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to take in this kind of knowledge so that you can truly objectively look at things from your dog's perspective and not your perspective.
Or he destroyed my house because he's mad at me.
Right.
Because he's
spiteful.
he's vengeful,
Because I went to work.
All right, next highlighted I just got to talk about. I just flipped the page of this one. Bite inhibition. Bite inhibition is the behavior displayed by a dog when it does not bite an opponent although it would be easy for it to do so. Most dogs will limit themselves to grasping or mouthing the opponent without causing damage. Inhibition mechanisms play a major role in interactions between aggressive social animals, preventing damage and death during conflict. Healthy dogs show distinctive bite inhibition mechanisms. If conflicts cannot be solved by displays of dominance or submission, individuals may then fight. Sometimes fights are fast and furious, and yet no damage occurs. Inhibition mechanisms regulate rank ordering disputes. Wolves or dogs only show uninhibited attacks when they want to force an opponent to leave the pack, such as when the alpha female is in heat and wants to get rid of direct competitors. So real quick, bite inhibition, that was kind of sciencey. Mm-hmm. But if you break it down like we do during our discussions, and most people will be familiar with this, you got two dogs, they're hanging out, they're playing. All of a sudden they get into a fight, right? One dog grabs the other one, thrashes them around a little bit, lets go, right? The other dog does nothing back. It's showing submission to the dog that did we'll call it an attack, but really they're just showing dominance and submission. No damage has been caused by this interaction at all. That is an example of bite inhibition, where the dog that grabbed the other one with its mouth and thrashed it around is merely applying a correction to the other dog from what that first dog perceived it needed to apply a correction for.
Yeah.
Right?
Like that dog had every ability and opportunity to rip that dog's neck open.
Right.
If it wanted to. Right.
Right.
But the fact that they're not, that's inhibition.
But humans see it. Oh, my dog's now aggressive.
He's trying to kill him.
Yep.
And bite inhibition is healthy. It's good to have. However, that doesn't mean that your dog should be running around thrashing every dog. You still got to make sure you go through the training process.
Whose neck are we going to go bite today? Oh, mine?
It's rewarding to the dog, though. He's having a good time.
Oh, yeah, and that dog's getting more dominant every time. So another example is you got two dogs. They're playing. All of a sudden they get into a fight. Now there's serious damage caused to one of the dogs or both dogs. That's not bite inhibition. They're bleeding. They got flesh missing. They have to go to the ER or whatever. Yeah. Maybe one dies. That's not bite inhibition. Those two dogs were legit fighting. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they did not have an inhibition mechanism, or maybe they weren't able to inhibit their bite. They went too far. They don't know how to inhibit their bite.
Never learned
how to do that through their socialization or early experiences. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe the dog just is a go-getter, doesn't want to inhibit its bite. Yeah. Wants to cause damage.
He knows what he's doing.
Used to making the decisions on his own as is, so just going with it.
Yep. So bite inhibition's a good thing, but that's just one example of something that we discuss in the book here, for you to understand about dogs, right? But in any case, whether your dog displays bite inhibition or not, you should still be supervising those interactions, providing the necessary leadership, so on and so forth, right? All right, let's see. Let me flip through here real quick. See if we got anything else that pops out in my head. Classical conditioning, good one. All right, let's keep going. Displacement activity. Displacement activity is all activity performed to change the motivation in a given situation. The individual tries to achieve a sense of security by performing an activity which it feels safe with and connects with pleasure. The most common displacement activity in male dogs is marking territory by urinating. Picking objects up and carrying them is another example of typical displacement activity, especially in situations where owners pressure their dogs to solve a problem they don't understand. Right? So, stop right there. So, displacement activity, your dog's doing something other than what we want them to at any point in time, or maybe they don't know what to do, so they start doing something weird or out of context. Displacement activity, you pick up on that as a trainer, as a dog owner, depending on what your dog, and you realize you may need to provide some more leadership and guidance at that point in time, right? Or if you're trying to take a walk with your dog, then all of a sudden it's peeing on every tree, every fence post, every fire hydrant. You know what I'm saying? It's just displacing from the walk. It knows you want to walk. It's like, I'm going to take control of this walk. Start stopping and peeing everywhere. Maybe you got a dog in the house. You got people coming over. This dog just grabs something, starts walking around with it in the house. That could be a displacement activity because the dog doesn't know what to do at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? So just something else to pay attention to. It's cute, yeah.
It's cute until it's like humping. It's a displacement activity.
Sometimes that's cute.
All right, let's flip through here. Get one more out of this book before we move on to the next one. All right, habit. Ooh, see what we say here.
I like habits.
Habits are behavior patterns which are frequently displayed. The advantage of habits is that the individual does not need to use a great amount of energy in order to produce the behavior pattern in question. Habits save energy in as much they do not require great brain activity and feedback from the senses. All animals develop habits, and our dogs are very likely to perform the same routines and rituals day after day.
That wasn't even scripted.
We should encourage our dogs to build habits which benefit our own daily routine. That was powerful. Such as a walk to the park or around the block 2 or 3 times a day. Powerful. Habits are easily built, only necessitating a few repetitions. Hundreds of repetitions, actually. However, they are difficult to break, and sometimes sophisticated processes are needed to do so. Wow. Wow. That's all I can say. Let's just read the rest of this book right now. Anyway.
Ready for a 6-hour podcast?
Back to the habit piece. You got good habits, you got bad habits. Let's say you got a dog that's peeing on your floor every day, same place. Maybe you're doing the same thing. You're walking to your back door, let's go outside. Your dog walks to the living room, pee. Why'd you do that? You know what I'm saying? It's a habit.
Right.
It's a habit, bad habit. Now we got to break that habit. That can be pretty difficult. You know what I'm saying?
Or they go, I let him outside, and he comes in, he just craps right in the middle of my floor every time.
Yeah. That's a good one. Or a habit could be you're walking down the street, your dog reacts at a dog. It's just a habit. You see another dog.
That's just what I do.
You start losing it, you know. A good habit could be, you start preparing dinner, your dog goes lays on their spot, you know. You got people come in the house, your dog goes lays on their spot. You're out walking your dog, there's another dog reacting at your dog looks at you, good to go. You know what I'm saying? So those are some examples of good habits that we like to build here at Canine Revolution Dog Training, right? You guys got anything to add to that?
Which is why we do our routines and rituals. That's what we're doing. We're building habits.
We're building up good habits. Building up really good habits, boys. All right. I think that's going to be it for this book. But again, Dog Language and Encyclopedia of Canine Behavior. Great book. You guys should definitely check that out if you're into the sciencey stuff. All right. Next book. The Dog's Mind. Understanding Your Dog's Behavior by Bruce Fogle. Right? This is a powerful book. This book is really sciencey too, but it's such a good book.
It's a really good one.
I've read this so many times. And you still learn something new every time, right? This book was published in 1990.
The 90s, man.
It's older. Yeah, it's older. Material, a lot of it still applies very strongly today. But there is new material as well. So this book's going to break it down into a couple parts. Part 1 of the book is the anatomy and physiology of the dog's mind. Part 1 of the book is what lost Chris the first time he had to read this book. Just got too sciencey.
I was better on the second time through.
We have our little discussion. Chris was like, I don't even know what I read. I don't even know what's going on.
There's no pictures.
Yeah, Chris likes pictures. Part 2 of the book is a psychology of the dog's mind, where we talk about early learning, later learning, when they're puppies, when they're older adults, social behaviors, breed differences, that kind of stuff, right? So let's pop through here while I'm scrolling through here. You guys got anything to tag about this book real quick?
Just super sciencey again. Take it slow. Take your time with it.
Take your time.
I mean, this is a good one to read for both of them are, but for what we were just talking about, understanding your dog's perspective. That's what this is going into. Your dog's mind, how they think, how they live, how they perceive the world. So,
all right. So in the introduction here, he starts off with a bold statement. We can never get into the minds to truly understand how they think, but we can surmise in as scientific a way as possible, but also in as empathetic a way as possible, right? He's talking about the dog's mind. You don't really know, you're not in the mind to really understand what exactly they're thinking, but based on your scientific understanding, based on your own empathy, your own emotions, your energy states, you can surmise the best possible conclusion as to what that dog is how it's operating at that point in time, right? That's a powerful statement.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you really, I mean, you're not going to know exactly.
Yeah,
what's
nobody really
going on
knows
every
until we
time.
can hook up a machine to a dog and read its mind.
Yeah. All right, so then chapter 3, he's talking about the senses, right? He's talking about all the different senses. I'm just going to go through here real quick and read a couple highlights. The first one is touch that he talks about, and touch is the earliest and possibly the most important of all the canine senses, right? He also says that in here, it is more important than any other sense for the development of the normal adult, and dogs that are deprived of touch will grow to become subordinate, fearful, and withdrawn. So that's that early socialization piece. You got puppies. Obviously, you don't want to go to not a legit breeder. You want to go to a legit breeder because a lot of times a legit breeder is going to incorporate touch activities with the dog every day to make sure they're properly socialized with the puppy every day, you know. All right. The next sense that he talks about is taste. The only other sense that is functioning at birth is taste. Okay. Let's see. He goes through a bunch of experiments when they tested, do dogs like warm food? Do they like cold food? All that kind of stuff. Talks about palatability, you know, good to go. Let's go to the next sense, which is hearing. So he said that, in fact, dogs can actually hear sounds from 4 times the distance we can, but they still hear the sounds in a broadly similar fashion. And dogs are better at detecting higher notes than we are. So everybody already knows that dogs can hear better than you are, you know, but 4 times the distance of what we can hear, and at the same about level, you know, that we're like, you guys are listening to me right now, the dog can hear me 4 times away at the same level, which is crazy.
I know. I can barely hear you across the table.
Wow.
It's just that
Wow.
age getting to you.
Yeah. I haven't cleaned my ears in a while.
Next is vision. So then he talks about vision. Although the dog is perhaps 10 times more sensitive to peripheral movement, he has poor close vision, though reasonably good vision at a distance. So they see better on the sides than they do in front. And that's through, well, if you look at the dog's anatomy, and again, everything I'm talking about, we've learned in our book discussions. But if you look at the dog anatomy, wolves, their eyes are more to the side of their head, so they can get that side peripheral angle. We have bred a lot of dogs as humans where their eyes are more frontally focused, so that may have changed in some breeds, but they're still going to be better at peripheral vision than close, forward vision. When you start getting in front of the dog, they're going to be using their nose a lot more. All right. Let's see here. Flip another page. And scent. Obviously, we know dogs are really, really good at scent. Okay. Scent is undoubtedly the most important of the dog's practical senses, but it's the most difficult for us to comprehend as humans. We don't really comprehend the intensity of the dog's scent, right? We do know that dogs have smell memories. They last for life. So a lot of times, you know, we've trained a dog. We don't see him for like 2 years. Then all of a sudden we see that person and that dog again at a group class or follow-up or something like that. At first, the dog doesn't recognize us. They come up, sniff us. They start losing it, you know, because they're so excited because that scent memory comes back in, you know.
It's kind of like us with the Bad Daddy's burger. Like you smell that smell in Nexton, you're like, I know what that is.
Holy cow. All right. So let me flip through here, get some more goodies out of this book, just so you guys get a taste of it.
Just a taste.
But y'all really need to just go buy it.
Just a
and
taste.
read it.
You should go buy this book. Make sure you're good to go.
Maybe we can do a Revolution reading episode. We'll read it.
Read the whole book?
Yeah, the whole thing.
All right, so
have that. Just buy an audiobook.
No. It's us reading.
One thing he does go into detail on in this book is, you know, how dogs communicate, which is super important, obviously. But one thing that's very important is how they visually communicate, and that's going to be through tail position, ear position, head position. So he's even got diagrams in this book where he shows you, you know, how a dog is going to change their body posture to go from calm to alert to aggressive, how your dog's going to go from calm to alert to submissive, So those diagrams are really, really nice. But let's go through some basic ones that he, lists out descriptively. Dogs signal some of their feelings in this way. Calm, ears and tail relaxed. That's going to look different for every dog, right? Alert, ears and tail up. Aggressive, hackles up, tail up, rump up, lips pulled back. Increased aggressive, snarl with teeth exposed, straight stance. Frightened, ears flattened back, tail between legs. Fear, crouched with tail between legs. Abject submission, lying down, hind leg lifted, urinates. Greet, licking the face. Beg regurgitating food or play bow. Beg regurgitating food is like jumping up at you, licking at your face type situation, right?
It's
All right.
the root behavior. That's where the licking the face comes from.
That's right.
No, it's kisses.
No.
Come on,
They want you to puke in their mouth.
All right, here's another highlight. Dogs that are denied direct human contact until they are over 12 weeks of age seldom make good companions. So that's why it's very important. And this book does a really good job of breaking down puppies, in chapter 6. Here's another highlight. Pups raised in complete isolation to 7 weeks of age could still recover completely and become socially normal. They also reported that outside contacts as infrequent as twice a week and for only 20 minutes each time were enough to ensure normal development as long as these outside contacts occurred in the critical period between 4 and 12 weeks. All right. So, again, he's talking about contact with humans right here. He does break it up in how a pup should be made contact with in the development of the dog's mind. Right? He said from 0 to 2 weeks is a neonatal period. From 2 to 4 weeks of age is the transitional period. From 4 to 6 weeks of age is a socialization period to dogs specifically. And then from 4 to 12 weeks of age is the socialization period to humans specifically. So those timelines are really good to know, especially if you're raising a puppy. Maybe you're talking to a breeder. You got some questions you can ask him. You can pull from this book. Good to go. And did you know that, you would know if you read this book, even when the puppy is developing in the mother's womb, they are already being imprinted on based on what the mother is going through. Mm-hmm. So if the mother's super stressed during the pregnancy, that puppy could be more stressed. Mm-hmm. They could have more stressed characteristics or traits, right?
Yep.
If the mother is having a good time, not stressed, calm, that sets the puppy up for success.
This is why we've mentioned this several times in several episodes, like you're going to a breeder, always ask to see the parents, kind of assess them as well.
Oh, yeah.
And the environment, of course.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just a crazy environment, just leave.
Yeah, like they're all in a bathtub.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, the next chapter we did cover in a podcast, chapter 8, that talks specifically about aggression, what aggression is in dogs. We already talked about that in a separate podcast, so go check that out in one of our previous episodes. He has another chapter that talks about eating, exploring, eliminating.
That's peeing
and pooping.
That was my favorite chapter.
Yep. That was your favorite one?
Yeah.
The scat chapter.
Let's see. On page 137, we talk about prey carrying. Some people may be curious about this, So that some dogs develop the habit of taking their food out of their food bowl, carrying it to another place and eating it there. This is based on the wolf's prey carrying activity, genetics, and instinct, right? So, again, our dog's ancestor is the wolf. Why does my dog take food out of the food bowl, take it over to the carpet, and eat it there? It's based on that prey carrying activity that comes from the wolf.
Make a kill, carry it back to the den.
Good to go.
Feast.
All right. Obesity. Oh, wow.
That's a big one.
That's a good one. Let's
read
this highlight.
That was a big chapter.
You got jokes.
Cut that part out, Ben.
Obesity. It is extremely rare to see fat canines of any species in the wild And this is because most animals have a refined ability to adjust their consumption of food to meet their energy requirements.
And because they're not getting chicken and cheese for dinner every night.
And because they die.
Obesity in dogs is a man-made problem. To begin with, we have allowed dogs that would have been too fat to survive in the wild to survive and reproduce.
Wait,
there is not.
I know where you're going with that.
There is now a genetic predisposition to fatness in certain breeds than in others. Again, human intervention, has changed some things about the dog world.
Worst thing that ever happened to dogs.
Perverse as it sounds, the housebound dog leads a stressed existence. Wow. If your dog is bound to the house, it leads a stressed existence. It cannot express its natural behaviors: stalking, chasing, exploring, investigating. The brain endorphins might increase in states of anxiety and be in some way related to obesity. So get out with your dog, allow them to use their natural instincts. Good to go.
Just go on a walk. It helps your dog's obesity. It may help yours,
Routines, rituals, physical,
rituals.
mental stimulation.
Routines and rituals.
Set the tone for the pack.
This is another good piece. I'm getting off on a tangent here. All right, so why dogs might urinate in the wrong place, right? Number one, lack of house training. So we're talking about dogs that, they pee all over the place, different places. Maybe you don't like it, right? One reason could be lack of house training, which means we have to train the dog not to use the bathroom in the house, to use it outside. Easy date. All right, number two, territorial marking, right? Did you know urine marking reduces a dog's anxiety by masking any other dog's odor with its own? Or you could just give your dog the pack structure. Good to go. Anxiety resolved, right? Mm-hmm. But that may be a reason why your dog is anxious. Maybe a reason why your dog is trying to mark everything because of this, territorial marking, right? Number three, it could be separation anxiety. So maybe you leave the house, your dog takes a crap on your floor or pees on your floor. Could be rooted in separation anxiety. We don't know. Got to peel away the onion layers, but we'll figure it out. Another one could be fear, right? You got that dog, you walk into the store, all of a sudden, dropping a load.
Talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Got one right now.
Sorry, Lowe's.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Home Depot.
Next one could be excitement. Your dog might urinate because of excitement, which you got to train the dog to, handle exciting situations a different way, so they don't do that. Then you've also got an over-submissive dog that's a very submissive. They could urinate when they're simply looked at or touched. They're just, they can't handle it. They can't handle it. That sounded weird.
Cut that part out.
Phoenix Fire's really going to like that one.
Is that what you sound like when he's just in the bathroom?
Hey, shout out to Phoenix Fire. If you're watching this episode, leave us a comment. Anybody watching this episode, leave us a comment on that.
You're going to get a comment.
Sound effects.
That one got me.
Another one could be, all right, boys, reel it in. Another one could be wrong diet, Dog's having the bad diet. Or your dog could be doing it to get attention. Even if it's negative attention,
right?
They get some form of attention from you every time they urinate. Oh, they might start doing it, Could be a disease, could be inbreeding, it could be early experience, That's just how it was from day one, right? So anyway, good material in this book. We flip back to the back here. See if there's anything at the end. Oh, yeah, here we go. Conclusion. The fact remains that the dog's mind works in its own specific ways and with objectives that are not necessarily obvious to us. By understanding these differences, we can become more responsible for our pet's behavior and at the same time make their lives more stimulating and fulfilling. We often, all right, this is a hard hitter.
Here we go.
Because we have taken the dog into our homes and our hearts, we have the opportunity to observe his behavior more closely than we can observe any other animal species. This is a double-edged sword, for we often make the mistake of interpreting his behavior in human rather than canine terms. We forget his ancestry.
I think that's called anthropomorphism.
That's
We learned about that in the other book.
About in the other book.
That's
if
another
you're paying attention.
moment too. Right?
It all comes together.
So that is The Dog's Mind. That's a great book. Highly recommended. It is a little bit sciencey at the beginning, but then it makes more sense as you keep going through.
Just read it 5 times, you'll get it.
Good to go.
I mean, Bruce Fogle and Roger Abrantes in
Yep.
general, you know, they got a lot of good stuff out
They
there.
got good stuff. All right, so now we're going to dive into some human books. The first one,
Hate
very
humans.
popular, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Classic.
This is the 80th anniversary edition that I have right here. Okay?
That's an old book.
So this is a freaking good book. This book was published in, let's see here, 1936.
Dang.
That's crazy,
30s.
dude.
Good years.
All right. So let's jump into some stuff. So this guy's got a lot of principles. He goes through a lot of stories about how to use these principles. So let's find some of these principles in the book and kind of discuss them real quick. All right. So he breaks his book down into different segments. And the first segment is fundamental techniques in handling people. He's got 3 principles. Principle number 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. We don't like complainers. If it's hot
Not in here.
outside, get after it. If it's cold outside, get after it.
Put a hoodie on and then get after it.
All right, good to go. If it's
Sun's
hot
a little
outside,
bright.
if it's hot outside, take your clothes off. Good to go. Remember back in the day when Chris was the first apprentice? It was just me and Chris.
Why
We
did
had
you
that
transfer
pool.
from take your clothes off to immediately talking about?
We had that pool. I come
Now you
to
know.
work one day. All of a sudden, Chris is in the pool naked.
That was
It's
not
hot.
accurate.
Chris is like, "Oh, I thought that's what we did."
I got video footage that shows it was the opposite way around.
Better watch out. Some people might pay you for that.
I've already sold it.
All right, principle number 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. That's one thing we as a society fail to do a lot. Give honest and sincere appreciation, right? And then number 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. Why should you want to do this, right? Why should you want your dog trained? Because it's going to make your life so much better. It's
And
going
your
to make
dog's
your
life.
walks so much better. Your dog's going to enjoy their life. They're not going to have the anxieties, the insecurities.
They're not going to live a sedentary lifestyle.
That's right. They're not going to be obese. Good to go. All right. The next section is called 6 Ways to Make People Like You. Right? And you may say, I don't want people to like me. Well,
You do.
you do. You live in a community. You got friends, family, neighbors, whatever. Right? Maybe you're in business and you got to interact with a lot of different people. People aren't going to do business with somebody that is not good at relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So principle number 1, become genuinely interested in other people. So become interested in that person, what they're about, their life, what they have going on, right? Principle number 2, smile. Let me see you guys smile. You guys got to work on that.
I do mine in the moment, like when I walk in. it
Samantha,
just
let me
happens.
see you smile.
There's a smile.
Wow.
Samantha's
That
got
looked
some
like
work to
something
do.
from a scary movie.
Think
She's
mine
got
was
some
better.
work to do. Principle number 3, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. People love hearing their name, right?
Yes, they do, Chad.
Kevin,
I don't like my name.
you don't like your name. Okay. Most people.
Kevin's like he's.
Well, we'll talk about that in the next book. That's the warrior. Warrior doesn't really
Yeah,
care.
Right.
Romantic, they want to hear your
Oh,
name.
I like my name.
Christopher.
My name's the best name. I mean, since
Christopher D. Tipton.
Really deep.
I don't know what to say.
All right, moving on. Chris D. T. All right.
Chad's taking me out
What was
today.
the rap name?
What?
Chris T.
Chris
Chris
T.
T. That's right.
Chris T.
What was yours? Did you have one?
Lil John.
I'm about to cut the spots video in the middle of that one for
Phoenix
people to
Fire, if you're
understand.
still listening, leave us a comment below again. All right.
And then look at our spots video.
If anybody's wondering who Phoenix Fire is, he's our number 1 YouTube subscriber. Comments on every video. He's good to go, boys.
Nice.
I'll tell you off the air.
All right.
Keeping his
You
identity.
can't
low-key.
reveal his identity.
I can't reveal it. All right, principle number 4, be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. So instead of, when you're talking to somebody, instead of saying, I did this, I did that, hey, how was your day? What'd you do this weekend? What do you have planned for the day? How are you doing?
And then genuinely be interested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, how often do you hear the fake stuff? Oh, how was your day? Oh, cool. That's nice. Now back to me. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely be interested in what they're saying and try to get to know the people.
Exactly.
Make yourself likable.
Good point there.
This is good stuff.
And that goes into the next principle, talk in terms of the other person's interests. So don't always be about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how was your day? Oh, you went ice skating. Is that something you like to do? I don't know. I just
Tell me more about that.
Ice skating. You live in the South.
Did you have a good weekend?
We have an ice skating rink in Somerville. It's
Hey,
like a
how
10
was
by
your
10
weekend?
10 by 10 slab.
Hey, how was your weekend? Well, I cut the grass. Oh, what kind of lawnmower do you have? Oh, okay. Ooh,
John Deere with a
we're
flat
talking.
tire.
Now we're talking.
What kind of grass? I'm more interested in the grass. What kind of grass you got?
What kind of grass is it? Rye grass? Is it zoysia? Is
Got
it
this
St.
Bermuda
Augustine?
on half the yard.
Ooh, nice. Bermuda. Big time.
Import.
All right. Principle number 6, make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. Right? Don't be a faker. Make them feel important. And you're going to do that just by talking about what we just talked about. Be a good listener. Encourage them to talk about themselves and talk in terms of their interests. Right? All right. The next section. How to win people to your way of thinking. Right? Super important. Okay? Especially if you're in business, right? Maybe someone, so like what we do, dog training. There's so much information out there about dog training. There's a lot of stuff you got to sift through. You know what I'm saying? If people are working with us, we need them to have a certain way of approaching things and situations. How are we going to do that? You know, this section can help us. Number 1, the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Don't get into a back and forth argument with someone. That's not helping anybody. That's going to raise the ego level up. You know what I'm saying? Stick with facts. Avoid the argument if you can. Find something that you're both on the same ground about, right?
How many times you see people these days are looking for? You go on Facebook. People
yeah.
are looking for arguments.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Number 2, show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, you're wrong. Right? I would say something
Especially to your wife. Not recommended.
These do apply in your relationship as well.
What's worse, you're wrong or whatever?
Oh.
Well, usually that's what follows you're
both
wrong.
are bad.
You're wrong. Whatever.
Both are bad. Principle number 3, if you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Just like the other day, we had a little miscommunication with one of our clients. We messed up an appointment time. Once we identified that, we quickly admitted it, took all the blame, and then got them on the right path, right?
Yeah. Easy. It's easy to be, oh, well, this is why this happened. This is, make all these excuses.
Yep.
Just own it.
Own
it, and then move forward.
Apologize
on the path.
sincerely. Make it right.
Good to go. Principle number 4, begin in a friendly way. So don't just walk up to somebody, start attacking them.
Hey, you suck. You want to sign up?
Yeah.
Principle number 5, get the other person saying yes immediately. So ask them a question where they're going to feel encouraged and ready to move forward with.
Are you awesome?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want your dog to stop peeing in your house?
Yes. Sign me up. If I was a car salesman, hey, you like this truck right here? Oh, yeah.
Ram Rebel?
I don't know. Is
Sure
it a
do.
Dodge? No. Show me the Fords.
You want this power? You better get this Dodge.
I need that power.
Do you need this power? Yes.
No one needs that. It's garbage.
Oh my
Yeah, I need the 4x4. I never go off road, but
All right, let me ask you this question. Do you like your car breaking down and repairing it often?
Yes, because it makes me a better mechanic.
Then you should get a Ford.
I knew you were going there.
All right, principle 6, let the other person do a great deal of the talking. So again, let them be a good listener. That's what it comes down to. Principle 7, let the other person feel like an idea is his or hers. We've all met that person.
According to Merriam-Webster, one who listens to someone or something.
how'd you trigger my voice activation?
Android listening to us.
It's happening.
Freaking
So letting
government.
the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. Maybe you're having a conversation with somebody and they take your idea and they use it to get, someone's attention. Let them have it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Say,
saying?
that's a good idea.
That's a great idea. Now let's go do it.
Yeah.
Get the mission done,
I mean, how many times have we done that? We might, find ourselves saying the same thing over and over, then Chris may come in and say it, and then it just clicks.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what? As long as you got the information,
Yeah.
that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Like how you brought Chris up in that example.
Oh boy.
Principle number 8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. This is a big one.
Yeah.
Look at it from the other person's perspective, which means you got to stop yourself, slow down, put yourself in their shoes. Whatever the situation is, does this make sense from their perspective? If so, I understand it. I might have to communicate to them in a different way, but now I can understand where they're coming from. It's not about you versus me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Let's try to think about it from each other's side.
Takes a lot of discipline.
Takes a lot of discipline to do that.
Discipline equals
freedom.
That's right.
Discipline
Jocko will listen to us one day.
Yeah,
And sometimes that means slowing it down, because a lot of times people are quick
yeah.
on their emotions.
Yep.
Take a break. Think this through.
Take a break. Think it through. Good to go.
Peel the onion layers.
Principle 9: be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. So don't just shut it down. And this is I've been bad at this in my marriage.
Does Lauren listen to this?
No way.
No.
She doesn't listen. If something happens, right? She's like, I think we should put a fence up around the back porch.
No.
Heck no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to be sympathetic with that, you know, or have a different discussion so that we can honestly see things from each other's point of view.
So when are you putting the fence up?
I'm not.
We start tomorrow.
Number 10, appeal to the nobler motives. So again, it's not about you. It's about the bigger picture, right? Dramatize your ideas as number 11. Number 12, throw down a challenge. Like what we did. We threw down the 21-day challenge. Not many people passed it.
Couple of dedicated people did, but a lot of people, disappointed me.
Takes a lot of discipline to do the 21-day challenge.
It's
not
hard.
Easy. Not an easy challenge.
It's hard.
Yep. But people that did it, they're going to reap the benefits. And it's still available. If you're an alumni, you go on the Facebook page, pull up the announcements, you'll see it on there.
Mm-hmm.
It will make a difference in your relationship. All right. Last but not least, how to be a leader. A leader's job often includes changing your people's attitudes and behavior. Some suggestions to accomplish this. Number 1, begin with praise and honest appreciation. No matter what you're doing. You know, you guys are leaders to our clients, right? When you're in their house. Hey, maybe they're struggling with spot, but you do some healing before that. Hey, your healing is great. Now we just need to tune in on the spot stuff. You know what I'm saying? Get us on the same track. Number 2, call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Sometimes you do have to be direct, you know, but you want to first try to do it indirectly, right? That way there's no ego issues. That way there's no me versus you issues, but you still have to help that person. Principle number 3, talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person, right? So whatever you got going on, whatever the situation is, hey, I've been really bad about this, I've been doing this, I've been doing that.
I've caught myself do the same thing.
Yep, I got to tune it in. Here's what I'm doing, right? Number 4, ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Some people hate this because I'm big question asker. Samantha's like, how do I do this? I'm like, I don't know. How do you do it? She's sleeping.
She's napping.
She's sleeping. But ask questions instead of giving direct orders, right? In a way that builds that person up and develops them. You know what I'm saying? And then principle 5, let the other person save face, so don't chew them out. If you shouldn't be chewing somebody out, but don't raise Cain in a group,
or let them, make them look bad.
Yeah, don't let them look bad. Yep. Number 6, praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Right? So they've been struggling with the spot, for example, with us. We do a follow-up, give them some things to work on. We go back. Some of those things have been tuned in. Good to go. Hey, great job. Good work. Now let's keep pushing, stay on the path for these last couple things, right? Principle 7, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. So lead by example, right? But also build up their reputation. Principle 8, use encouragement. Make the fault seem easy to correct, right? Hey, so-and-so broke heel position. Let's talk about how we're going to tune that in real quick. Easy to correct, not a big deal. Number 9, make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. Hey, if you get this, you're going to have X, Y, and Z. If you get your spot done, you're going to have X, Y, and Z that you won't have to worry about. You know what I'm saying? So just some examples there. But this is a great book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Really thick. It's a thick book, but it's got a lot of lessons in here that you can apply if you're in business, if you're in a relationship, just with your friends.
Just general life.
General life. Good to go.
Makes you a better person.
Makes you a better person.
That's what it's about.
Not bad for the 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might need
It's
to be
still
up.
like a top seller, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That just tells you how powerful that material is, right? All right, then the last book that we're going to talk about today is The Power of Understanding People.
Oh, yeah.
This is a book we just recently finished. It's very powerful, opened up our eyes to a lot of stuff, by David Mitchell. Let's see when this book was published. This is probably newer, 2014. But this is a great book, right? So real quick to summarize this book, basically in this book he says that people are going to break down into 1 or 2 of 4, interactive styles is what he calls it. So there's 4 interactive styles that every person falls into. Number 1 is the romantic. And what's an example of a romantic? Someone that's
I mean, that's like a little bit of what we were talking about in this last book. They like to be appreciated.
Yep.
They're more emotion driven, you know.
They want to take care of others
Like
for themselves.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Emotion driven, taking care of others. They do not want to hurt people's feelings.
Don't like
Avoid
conflict.
confrontation.
They don't like conflict. They're about relationship, Your second one is a warrior, right? Warriors are going for efficiency. They're going
Straight
for
to the
value,
point.
straight to the point. They like to get things done. Don't waste time.
As quickly and effectively as possible.
That's right. Don't waste any time. The next one would be, let me get to it real quick. Next one would be the expert. And methodical.
Thorough, yeah.
They like facts, process, approaches.
Standard operating procedures.
Think
They're-
bullet points.
They're not
Step by
stubborn.
step.
They're right. They're always right.
They do the research.
I guess we know who the expert is around here.
All right. And then the fourth one is the mastermind.
all over the place.
Someone who's sensitive to the possibilities of the environment. They like to explore, experience new things, think outside the box. They don't even know there's a box. They're just out there, just going crazy. They're distracted. They're distracted by this and that. And if you're talking to someone, they're talking, and all of a sudden they're gone. They're either mentally or verbally or just physically gone somewhere else. They're not. You're boring to them. You know what I'm saying? They don't.
Yeah.
They don't not like you. You're just
Right.
boring. So
You've lost their.
They're a
interest.
mastermind. They gotta. They gotta go.
They like the adventure. They're adventurers.
Exciting things.
Exciting things.
But like
are
that constant
stimulating.
feed of
Vacations.
excitement.
Vacations,
They
new
love
places.
They love vacations.
No, you don't. Don't lie.
They said they.
Oh, I thought he said he does.
So anyway, those are the 4 interactive styles, and everybody's going to have a primary and a secondary interactive style. So Chris, for example, his primary interactive style is romantic. Secondary style is warrior. That's an interesting combination. But what that means is Chris is sensitive.
Always
Chris.
have been.
Got Ben with that one.
Been like that one.
Chris is sensitive. Chris likes appreciation. He likes relationship.
I do.
He likes taking care of people. He likes it when he's taken care of.
Hey, let me just say, I appreciate you guys,
We appreciate you, Chris.
You didn't say my name when you said that.
Kevin.
They also, romantics like to hear their name. Important. But Chris is also a warrior, which means he likes to be efficient. He doesn't like to waste time,
That is true.
which those two interactive styles are kind of like, sometimes in conflict. But good to go.
I mean, you can be romantic while you're getting stuff done. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's me.
All right. Kevin is a warrior, number 1, warrior. Number 2, expert. So warrior, again, efficient, doesn't like small talk. Kevin's really good at small talk, though.
Faking it.
He fakes it.
Sometimes, I mean, I'm into it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. I have I think everybody has tendencies of all 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just dominant ones. I remember because since there's a test in this book for those that don't know that you can take. I'm sure you can look it up online and take it as well. But reading it will help you understand it thoroughly. But as you're going through all 4, you'll see things like in Mastermind. I see stuff. I'm like, oh well, I do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But there have been people that have had take the test where they've had one predominant one and then 2 that were like dead even.
Yeah.
So it was like a warrior expert mastermind. It's like, how do you even
crazy?
You know?
How do you function?
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
crazy.
But no. So another thing about the warrior is they're blunt. And they're not being rude or anything. Yeah. It's just their personality. It's just their interactive style.
But,
and honestly,
to a romantic,
right?
Now there could be like if Kevin's talking to me, I don't know Kevin, and he's just very straight and to the point. I'll be like, oh, Kevin hates me.
Well, the good news is all these years I just thought I was a dick.
Yeah. Well, you are. You
just
are
a warrior.
Yeah.
You're not a dick. You're a warrior.
Warrior dick.
So I was gonna
wow.
say, that'll get cut.
All right, here we go. But anyway. So another thing about the warrior too is like Chris already said, people they don't understand the warrior interactive style, and honestly, up until we read this book, like this book opened our eyes to like so much stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't understand that, you're like, dude, I don't get this person.
Right.
Like they're being rude, but they act like this.
Right.
They're just a warrior, straight up.
Yeah.
Now you understand that. Now you're like, oh, okay. And the thing about this book too is it's gonna help you, coach you, how to work with that person, how to communicate with that person if they're not a good not a suitable, similar interactive style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially for us, we go into people's houses. We're dealing with a ton of different people.
Yep.
And so this has helped us learn how to adjust our communication methods to speak into that person's preferred interactive style. And we also know how to identify the interactive style.
And change it changed my perspective on the whole thing, like think about how he talks about masterminds. You might have somebody that's going, doing all, you're trying to talk to them, they look at their phone, they're doing something else, and you think this person's being rude, but really, now it's changed the perspective to, well, I'm not doing something that's interesting them, I'm boring them, so how can I change myself to keep their attention, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, one thing for me, excuse me, because I'm an expert, I'm very, in my brain is bullet points. I have to do this and I have to do that. Like, so a return, for example, I go in taking a dog home to somebody. I want to go through my expert bullet points, and I got a mastermind in front of me. Like you said before, I think this person's rude. Like, why aren't you staying on track with me? But now I understand the interactive style. I'm like, okay, I can tell when I'm losing them. So I'm like, all right, let's start working.
Yeah.
You got to keep it. You got to go with the flow. You got to
keep it
interesting. You got to change it up based on that interactive style.
Yeah.
Warriors, they want to be really efficient, so they want to get the material, get the information, work with the dog, be done. They don't want small talk. They don't want this. They just want to get it and get out.
Or like a warrior expert who's already read the handbook, already got all the info. They're good to go.
They say, I know everything. All right, let me just see how to do this. Okay, I had this question. All right, we're done.
Right, and you're like, man, they're pushing me out.
Yeah,
they don't want to hang out with me.
Exactly.
No, they got stuff to do.
See you on Tuesday at 3:30.
So Kevin's that warrior expert, and then me personally, I'm an expert romantic. Expert romantic. So expert side of me, very systematic. My brain's very systematic. I do a lot of research on things before we execute. And then romantic, just like what we talked about with Chris, into relationship, into appreciation, into all that stuff.
How close were your romantic and warrior columns?
Very close.
Yeah, thought so.
You think I'm a warrior too?
Yeah, I got a little bit of warriors recognize warriors.
I can be a warrior at times. I want to be really efficient too.
Yeah,
I mean that's how my
I think that falls under expert too.
Sometimes
they all kind of intertwine.
That's how my warrior and expert were pretty close.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, I see a lot of commonalities.
Yeah.
On all of them.
This book is a great book, highly recommended for anybody, because this is not only going to affect if you're in business or a leader, but also just a relationship aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Better understanding your spouse, your kids,
your spouse,
your family members.
Once you read it, it's almost something that you don't even have to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just realize it because you have the knowledge and you just adjust.
You remember what that's called?
You
remember what that's called? Metacognition.
Oh, yeah.
Understanding and developing your own thought processes. That comes from this book. Good to go. Highly recommended. Honestly, all 4 of these books, highly, highly recommended. 2 from the dog side, 2 from the people side. Did you guys have anything else to touch on these books?
No.
They
I
were
mean,
good.
these are great books.
Read 'em. Check 'em out.
Read them. Read one chapter a week. You'll get through these in a year. Good to go.
Report to us with your findings.
Report to
Send us a book report.
Write a book report. 15
Email
pages long, bullet format.
Expert.
What's that style you have to write in?
MLA.
MLA style.
Yeah.
I never did figure that what that is.
I didn't
That's
either.
why I failed all my papers in college.
I never went to college. So.
But for us, we're reading books every week. We're furthering our development. Well, actually, right now,
Here we go.
Oh, I knew this was gonna come up.
I assigned a book for the trainers to read
Chris, why don't you have your
a
book?
month and a half ago.
Kevin just got it.
And then last week they tell me as I've read the assigned reading, and I'm pumped. I'm like losing it. I'm like, this is so good. It's actually written by Bruce Fogle, who wrote The Dog's Mind. It's another book from him because that book is so good. But anyway, I'm like losing it. I'm so pumped for the discussion. First, I see Chris and Kevin over there whispering. They're like, hey, I didn't get the book. Did you get the oops.
It's not
Hey, Chad, we got to tell you something. We haven't gotten the book yet. Major letdown. Major letdown.
We didn't know you were going to pick the rarest book in existence.
Yeah.
It's an
Put
old
the order
book.
in. It's like,
Listen,
it'll
we
be
got
there in
a-
like maybe 2 months.
We got a global pandemic going on, all right? Shipping is taking a little longer than
Well,
usual.
it told me February 2nd, and I got it yesterday.
I
Which is
still
like
haven't.
January. What was yesterday? Like the 17th or something?
I might need
Yeah.
to check my mailbox.
It's a good book, though. It's going to be
We'll
a
take
good
your word
book.
for it.
The reviews are insane.
The book is called
Games Pets Play.
The Games Pets Play
How
by
not to be
Bruce Fogle.
manipulated by your pet.
We'll probably have some episodes on it, you think?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. I almost, when I read the first chapter, I was about to say, this is going to be our next podcast. I was like, this discussion is going to be crazy. And you guys let me down.
Even the back of the book, like just reading the footnotes, it was like, what?
Are there
Bruce Fogle goes from this to something
Oh, yeah.
a little.
are there any
wow.
pictures? Any
Yeah.
pictures?
Oh yeah,
There's pictures.
There's a lot of
Color?
illustrations.
Are they color?
Nah,
This
black and
book's
white.
from like 1980.
Here we go.
So,
Here we go.
or 74 or something. It's
It's
from
an
a
old
while
book,
ago.
but it's so good, dude. I'm like losing it reading this book. The Games Pets Play, so good. There's also another book. I'm not going to even bring it up because we're going to read it at some point in the
Well, if
future.
you bring
Should
it
we
up,
go
we
ahead
can
and
go
order
ahead and
it?
order it, and it'll be here in time.
It's another book called The Games People Play.
Oh,
That's the human element, so we're going to read both
Same
these
guy?
books.
Same guy?
No, it's a different guy.
Oh.
But it's what gave Bruce Fogle the idea
Oh,
to do it
okay.
about pets.
Nice.
You know?
all right.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I'm freaking pumped. But the good thing is, what's so exciting about reading it the way we read it is, again, we read the material ourselves, and we bring it to the discussion table, and we have some talk about it, some real talk.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Because,
And
all
it's-
three of
it's
us
a good
might
time.
perceive something a different way.
Oh, yeah,
And then
we
we can
perceive
talk
it
about it.
differently.
And a lot of times it's led to other discussions. And we end up putting the book down and we're talking.
Lots of discussions.
Talking
Canine
about
Revolution
life.
Dog Training and Psychology.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's right.
We're
What'd you
branching
say,
out
Ben?
all over the place.
Certified.
What'd you say, Ben?
Ben said it happens every day that we just
Remember at
put
one
the book
point?
down and go on
Remember at one
tangents.
point we were like, we're gonna record our discussions, and then we did one, and it was
It
like,
was terrible.
This is
It was
crazy.
literally like 14 minutes in. Ben goes, "This is awful."
He's like, people aren't gonna listen to you.
Wasn't it?
talk.
Wasn't it the encyclopedia
It
book?
was
the
It was the
encyclopedia
encyclopedia book we were reading.
So it is hard to digest
It
again.
was too
but
sciencey.
Podcast worked out a lot better.
Yeah.
So.
But we do pull some excerpts from the books and talk about them on the podcast, stuff that people will actually understand.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
good to go. So, anyway, y'all check those books out. Give us some feedback. Drop us a comment below. Phoenix Fire. Again, if you stayed with us to this point, let's see a couple comments, buddy. All right. But for all of our listeners, we really appreciate you guys. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the podcast. Rate us, review us on your podcast platform. Let us know if you like the podcast. If you have future podcast episodes you'd like us to discuss, let us know in the comments below, right? Like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, all that good stuff. We got a lot of...
Ben's gonna come on the podcast.
Ben
he
wants
just
to come on
said,
the podcast if someone doesn't rate and review us on
and
Apple
you
iTunes.
don't. You
He's
don't
gonna
want
get
Ben
fun-
on
He's gonna
this
do
thing.
that tangent we were talking about earlier. He pops
Yeah.
the mic
Yeah.
out.
When you take the mic out of the holster,
Starts cutting a promo.
All right,
like
Phoenix
it's
Fire.
WWF.
All right, Phoenix Fire. It's up to you this week. Drop us a review on your Spotify, Apple, iTunes podcast platform. Don't let us down. Otherwise, Ben's going to be on the podcast. He's going to go ham.
you don't want it.
You don't want Ben. People are like, I want Ben. I'm not going to review it.
He's a romantic like me. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
he's a romantic.
Don't worry. It'll be all right.
All right, anyway. Samantha's still taking a nap. All right, so we got to move on to our next thing. But anyway, subscribe, like, follow us, all that good stuff. Drop us a comment. We appreciate you guys. Hey, we got a lot of stuff happening in 2021. Pandemic's coming. Pandemic's still here.
Coming.
There's one coming. This is news
The
to me.
pandemic is still
Need to
here.
activate my Facebook again.
We got a lot of stuff going on. We got things that we're working on
Oh yeah.
to Canine
To
Revolution.
cure COVID-19. Oh.
Canine Revolution, changing the way we're doing things.
Stay tuned.
Good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Always changing.
Enhancing-
It's like Ben took the words out of my mouth. It's like it's a revolution.
Enhancing the dog and owner relationship, one step at a time.
Revolt.
All right. So Ben's kicking us off. All right. Well, appreciate you guys. We'll see y'all next time. Out.